Hey guys, so I'm planning to read some scary Reddit stories that I found again and I compiled them. And while I'm reading those Reddit stories, I'm planning to continue making my base. It's not that big, but it's a small base. I mean, I won't consider it as a base, but it's a start. So yeah, and I hope that while I'm playing, I hope that you guys enjoy the stories that I'm about to tell you. So without further ado, let's start. So the first story is from r/nosleep from the user 2 underscore blank underscore faces. Something is wrong with the ghost haunting my husband. I was the one who woke up in the middle of the night because my mother's intuition said something was wrong. I was the one who slipped into our daughter's room to check on her. I was the one who found her face down, not reading. I was the one who called 911 and practically gave her CPR until the ambulance arrived. My husband didn't wake up until the sirens blared outside our house. I was alone in the waiting room when the doctor came out. Her pace slack with a practiced compassion. My husband had gone to the bathroom. For the second time that night, I was sobbing alone. He's been catching up to me, though when I went back to work because someone had to, he said he wasn't ready. At our grief support group, he weeps uncontrollably until it feels like there's no room for my tears. He's too fragile to wrap his arms around me and tell me he's sorry. He needs me to do that for him, and now he's being haunted by her ghost. It started about a month ago. He called me at work, which he knows my boss doesn't like, blubbering about hearing her cry, the baby monitor, which we haven't been able to bring ourselves to get rid of, somehow turned itself on. He heard her voice, but the screen showed her crib was still empty. Of course, it had stopped by the time he called me. The next time he heard her cry, it lasted only a moment. It didn't come from the baby monitor, but from the nursery itself, right after he walked past it. He threw open the door, and he swore he could smell her scent stronger than ever. That soft fragrance of baby wipes clinging to every surface. He lost it. When I got home, I told him I couldn't smell anything different, even though I could. The third time it happened, I told him I couldn't do this anymore. I told him he needed to dump out, talk to a friend, a family member, or a professional, someone in a ring outside ours. His brother called me a few days later, full of concern about the hallucinations, and I told him abruptly the reason I had my husband call him was because I couldn't keep being the strong one for the both of us. Then I hung up on him. I was so relieved when he told me he was planning to check himself into inpatient care the next morning. It was like watching the storm clouds began to part, and a hazy gray silver of sun began to poke through. That night, after I turned out the light, after I thought he had fallen asleep, I felt his fingers graze my back. "Sweetie," he whispered. "Hmm? You're not asleep?" "No, though I wanted to be." "Are you upset with me?" "No," I said it reflexively, the way you say fine when people ask how you're doing. Even then, they know you just lost a child. For a few minutes, we were both quiet. Then I rolled over to face him. "Are you upset with yourself?" He seemed startled by the question. "I just mean, if you think I'm upset with you, could that be your own voice you're hearing?" He looked stricken. "Why would I be upset with myself?" "You shouldn't be." I paused, searching for the right words. "But maybe all of this, the hallucinations, the projecting on me, maybe you feel guilty because you're the one who put her to bed that night." He turned away from me, and I could feel him shaking. Finally, he said, "I put her down on her back. I know you don't believe me, but I did." Neither of us spoke again that night. His brother picked him up early in the morning, while I pretended to be asleep. Then, just to be safe, I went into the nursery and removed the tiny Bluetooth speaker and pack up baby wipes from under the dresser. Okay, so I'm actually kind of speechless, not gonna lie, cuz you're going in this story, right? And like you're expecting something supernatural, like Just from the title itself, like haunting. Like, and since it's from r/nosleep, so obviously I thought it was gonna be scary and stuff. But reading on it, whoa, it's more on like heartbreaking. Like, it's about sadness of a grieving father, right? And it completely pulls the rug out from under you, you know? So, but that's from the start and in the middle, but from the end, that was where, okay, what the hell happened? Because when I read the final sentence, I'm like, what? Like, I literally had to scroll right back and reread the whole thing from a totally, like, different perspective. Because more or less, it's more on, like, the psychological horror, not on, like, supernatural. There was no supernatural, but more on, I guess, manipulation, right? Like gaslighting him with the hidden speaker and the baby wipes just to like push him up from going to a psych ward. And I think that's the horror part. The horror part here is not from the hunting, but from the psychological horror here. The fact that the wife or the mother, right, is the one who's actually doing those things is kind of creepy. Well, that was the first story, but let's move on into the next one. And it's from r/nosleep and from the user appropriate underscore win7185. I found a bundle of my old birthday cards after my mother died. Her notes inside them are terrifying me. My mother kept every birthday card I ever gave her. I didn't know that until after she died. The hospital sent her belongings home in a cardboard box. Most of it sat unopened for months before I finally started sorting through it. Near the bottom was a bundle of birthday cards tied together with a faded ribbon. Every card I ever gave her was there. Construction paper cards from elementary school, store-bought cards from my teenage years, even the terrible handmade one I'd thrown together the night before her birthday, when I realized I'd forgotten to buy a gift. At first, I was just reading through them for the memories. Then I noticed something strange. Inside every card, my mother had written the date she received it. Beneath the date was a number. The first card said 14. The next card said 15, then 16. The numbers kept increasing every year. What bothered me was that they were always 1 year ahead of my actual age. When I reached my 18th birthday card, my number written inside wasn't 18. It was 19. A few cards also contained short notes. Still the same, voice unchanged, remembers the dog. They weren't messages to me. They looked like reminders she'd written for herself. I called my aunt that night. The moment I mentioned the notes, she stopped talking. After a long silence, she asked whether I remembered getting lost during a family camping trip when I was 6. I remembered the story because I have heard it my entire life. I wandered into the woods, the adults panicked, search teams were organized, a police officer showed up. A few hours later, I walked back out. Everyone always treated it like a funny family story. My aunt didn't. She told me my mother never laughed about it. Then she said something that made me drive to her house the next morning. According to my aunt, my mother believed something followed me out of those woods. She wouldn't explain further. I spent the next few weeks digging through the old photographs and notebooks. That's when things started getting uncomfortable. My mother's notes weren't about me acting strangely. They were about things she claimed happened around me. One entry described hearing footsteps outside my bedroom window every night for a month. Another described finding muddy footprints on the ceiling of our back porch after a thunderstorm. The most disturbing entries all mentioned the same thing. A tall figure, standing just beyond the tree line, whenever the family went outdoors. Nobody ever else reported seeing it. My mother wrote about it for years. I eventually found the notebook she'd been using during the months after the camping trip. Most of the pages were ordinary. Grocery lists, phone numbers, appointment reminders. Then the writing changed. She described seeing someone standing between the trees while the search teams looked for me. At first, she thought it was another volunteer. Then she realized it never moved. According to her, it remained in exactly the same spot for hours. The final entry about the woods was written the day after I came home. She claimed she saw the same figure standing behind our house that night. She wrote that it stayed there until sunrise. The last birthday card in the box was dated 6 months before she died. The number written beneath the date was 32, even though I was only 31. Underneath it, she'd written a final note: still here. I spent a long time trying to figure out what she meant. Last week, I found a photograph taken during that camping trip. I'd never seen it before. The picture shows a group of volunteers searching the woods. My mother had circled something near the edge of the frame. At first, I thought it was a tree. Then, I zoomed in. Someone was standing between the trunks, watching the search. The time span on the photo was 2 hours before I was found. What bothered me isn't the figure that was in there. What bothered me is that it's wearing the same jacket I was wearing when I walked out of the woods. Okay, that was actually chilling. Like, it gave me goosebumps. The horror here is just like subtle. It's not something like in your face. It's like a quiet, subtle horror. Like how the aunt, right? It revealed the kid got lost and that the mom actually knows something about it and that the figure was following them ever since that the kid got lost. And I feel like the mom like kind of put the checklist right in the birthday cards when the kid wrote. There were like weird notes underneath them, like voice unchanged, still the same, blah blah blah. I feel like it's the way of telling if the kid changed into that monster or like that figure, and so the mom is trying to figure it out until her deathbed. I feel like completely changes how you view a mother's love too, since the mother didn't even tell her kid that there was something. I mean, do you guys think it was like a doppelganger? Or maybe she just got cursed, or the kid got cursed, I mean. I don't know. If you guys have some thoughts about it, like, you can comment down below. Alright, so for the last story, it's from r/nosleep again, and from the user AkashaRvn. The previous tenant left fast. I should have asked why. The previous tenant left fast. The super said the previous tenants moved out in a hurry. We didn't think much of it. People move in a hurry all the time. A job loss, divorce, back rent. The apartment was cheap for the neighborhood, which meant we could finally afford to stop sharing a bathroom with strangers. And that was enough for us. My wife Sarah and I have been married 8 years. We've got a 5-year-old named Charlie and a 3-year-old named Emma. We're not rich, we're not lucky. We're just regular people trying to stay above water. This apartment was supposed to be a step up. The first week was fine. Boxes everywhere. The new paint smell, the kids running up and down in the hallway, discovering every corner. Charlie found a small door in the back of the hall closet. A crawl space, maybe, or an access panel. He was obsessed with it. Kept asking if we could open it. Probably just pipes, I told him. Nothing fun. He didn't believe me. Well, kids never do. The second week, we started hearing things. Not ghosts, not creaks, just sounds that didn't line up with our lives. Footsteps in the hallway when both kids were asleep. Water running in the kitchen when no one was in there. The toilet flushing by itself at 3 a.m. I checked the pipes. I checked the neighbors. I checked the building's maintenance schedule. Everything was normal. The sounds kept happening. I didn't tell Sarah. She got enough on her plate. Her mother's death is bad, and her job is demanding. I figured it was some old building noises, settling, expansion. Whatever landlords say when they don't want to fix things. The third week, Charlie started talking about the man. What man? I asked him at breakfast. The man in the hallway, he said. He walks around at night. Charlie, that was just a dream. No, Daddy, he's real. He wears a gray shirt. He walks slow. I look at Sarah. She looked at me. We both knew we haven't been sleeping well. Neither had Charlie. We figured it was nightmares. The new place, the stress of moving. We didn't talk about it after that. The fourth week, I woke up at 2 a.m. and heard the footsteps again. Clear this time. Heavy. Dragging. Not a ghost, not a creaky floor. A person walking down the hallway towards the kids' room. I got out of bed. I grabbed the baseball bat I kept under the mattress. I walked out into the dark hallway. No one was there, but the closet door was open. The one with the crawl space. The one that Charlie kept talking about. I walked over it and closed it. My hands were shaking. I didn't know why. There was no one there, just a closet, just a crawl space. I went back to bed. The fifth week, Sarah woke me at 4 a.m. She was crying. She had her phone in her hand, flashlight on, shining it at the ceiling. Someone's up there, she said. What are you talking about? Listen. I listened. I heard it, scratching. Not mice, not rats, too heavy, too deliberate, like someone dragging their nails across the sitting room from inside the crawl space. I called the super the next morning. He said there wasn't a crawl space. The buildings had ceilings, no access anywhere. I told him about the door in the closet. He went quiet. Don't open that, he said. Why not? Just don't. I asked him what was behind it. He said it was storage, private, not for tenants. I asked him who had access. He said no one. I asked him why there was footprints in the hallway, thus leading to it. He hung up. The sixth week, I opened the door. I waited until Sarah and the kids were at her mother's. I told her I had to work. I lied. I opened the closet, and I opened the little door at the back, and I crawled inside. It wasn't a crawl space. It wasn't a pipes. It was a room. Small, maybe 6 feet by 8. Low ceiling, no windows. But someone had been living in there, sleeping on a thin mattress on the floor, eating out of plastic containers. There was a small battery-powered fan, a stack of books, a backpack, and on the wall, there were photos. Photos of our family, Sarah at the grocery store, Charlie at school, Emma in her stroller, me walking the dog. All of us, through the windows of our apartment, taken at night, through the cracks in the blinds. The man had been in the walls the whole time. Not a ghost, not a spirit, a man, living behind the dry wall, watching us sleep. I crawled out so fast I hit my head. I called the cops. They came. They searched the room. The mattress was warm. The police never found anyone, but they found fresh footprints in the dust outside the hidden room, leading away from it. Someone had left after I crawled in, which means someone was still there while I was inside. I'm writing this from a hotel room. Sarah and the kids are with her mother. I'm not going back to that apartment. I'm not going back to that building. I'm not going back to any building with walls thick enough to hide a person. Because here's the thing that keeps me awake. The super told me not to open that door. He never told me why. And the footprints they found didn't just lead away from the room. They led to the door of our apartment. He had the key. He'd been in our home. The police haven't found him yet. Okay, that was just really terrifying and just like scary at the same time. I mean, imagine like your 5-year-old starts talking about a strange man in a gray shirt walking in the hallway at night. I mean, I'll be creep out. Like, is there someone in my home? Like, you completely assume it's a ghost story, right? Then that dad, right? He hears something heavy dragging footsteps at 2 a.m. That's just creepy. Like 2 a.m. in the morning and you hear something? Like, nah, bro, I'm moving out. And also, like the landlord. Bro, the landlord is just straight up guilty. Like, what do you mean don't open it? And he isn't explaining anything. Like, what? And also, the true terror here is when the dad actually goes inside of it, like that hidden room, and there's creepy photos of his own family. Like, what? There's a literal stranger living in the walls, watching them all the time, 24/7. Anyways, that's all the scary Reddit stories that I have for you today. Obviously, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video for today, and I hope that you guys support me on making videos and doing this content. And I hope you guys continue supporting the channel too. And obviously, if you guys want to support the channel, you can leave a like, a comment, or maybe subscribe if you want for future videos like this. So yeah, see you all. Peace.